Hello YouTube, it's me Brittany, and today I'm gonna do a requested video where I talk about my experience as a wrestler in high school and what it was like before I came out and after I came out. Not as transgender, but I came out as bisexual, gay, whatever you want to call it in high school while I was wrestling, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. How I had not discovered I was trans. I knew I was something, not what I was telling people, but I hadn't really discovered. But I'll get into it in just a second. But before I do that, I want to thank every single one of you guys who've already subscribed. I love every single one of you. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time watching me, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. There is plenty of stuff that I do on this channel. It is an open line channel where I do encourage discussion. I do, if you notice, I do reply to many comments. If you comment on any of my videos, I do my best to try to communicate with you, and that's the whole point of this. When I started it 5 months ago, was kind of an open line from myself to other trans people to try to, relay my experiences and help you get through yours. Anyways, on to what we're going to talk about today. So if you watch some of my coming out story on my channel, which you haven't, you can definitely go back. There's an 8-part series further when I first started where I did a coming out journey, and I talked about some of my experience in high school in wrestling. And wrestling was my main sport that I was known for in high school, as far as I know, even though it was not my initial sport that I loved. Honestly, if I would have had my way in high school, I would have played volleyball, but unfortunately, in the state where I was going to high school they did not allow boys to play volleyball, so I was kicked off the team because I was a boy. Which is irony, because now I'm trans, and I probably would have made a great volleyball player, but I just didn't get the chance to. But anyways, before I get into anything I say here, I just want to say that, although my experience with wrestling was both positive and negative, my overall experience with wrestling has been completely positive. I completely encourage you to put your children, both boys and girls, into wrestling. I think it helps you develop and makes you into just a better person all around. And all of the people I wrestled with, I still look at as family to me. Like my coach, the managers, the wrestlers that I wrestled with, even though some of them may not care about me or like me or even support me for who I am, I will never ever not like them or support or care about them, because quite frankly, to go through the experience of being a wrestler in high school or at any level it's grueling, and to survive the wrestling room is enough for me to respect you and to love and care about you. And honestly, 4 years in the wrestling room with some of the same guys, those are my family, like that was who I looked to for support and all those kind of things when I was in high school, even before and after I came out. So let's kind of get into my whole experience. So, like I said, I believe it's very positive, although there were negative things that happened specifically after the whole me kind of admitting, yeah, I don't have a problem having sex with boys. I like boys and I like girls. I kind of like everything. And that was so, my freshman and sophomore year were great. I think the coach that I had really looked to me as a leader on the team, and I looked up to him. And I think that whenever the news broke to him in between my sophomore and junior year about me liking boys, he brought me into his office for a meeting. I want to say I strongly remember, but I kind of want to forget everything about it. But I know the whole point of the meeting was him trying to say, you can't be gay, you can't be bisexual and be on my wrestling team. And so even though I was a varsity wrestler for him for the previous 2 years, and I wasn't a bad wrestler, I wasn't the best wrestler, but I wasn't a bad wrestler, I felt like this was kind of a slap in my face. And honestly, I earned my spot as a varsity wrestler in my weight class for both my freshman and my sophomore year. So it was really frustrating for me coming into my junior year, having to continually fight. Both my junior and senior year, I think because the coach was just against the fact that he knew I was, bisexual or whatever, and he didn't like that. He didn't like having that on his team. That was someone openly doing that, living like that on his team. I think he really tried hard to stick to his motto, where you had to wrestle off to earn your position on the varsity roster. But he also was really trying hard to make sure that person underneath me could beat me. And unfortunately, that person underneath me never could beat me. And we wrestled off 21 different times between my junior and my senior year for my varsity position for a kid who was a class underneath me. And nothing against him. He was a great kid, great athlete, but I do kind of feel like a lot of the reasons why I wrestled off more than any other varsity wrestler my junior and senior year on the squad. I had to wrestle for my position more than any other wrestler. And I think a lot of that was based in the fact that the coach didn't want me. I know that a lot of the wrestling, especially my junior year, the junior year was my hardest year, because that's when coach first found out, and I really think that he pushed the upperclassmen ahead of me and a lot of the other varsity athletes to try to force me off the team. Like, not bully me, but really, yeah, bully me off the team. And in a way it worked, and then eventually I came back because I love the sport. So like I needed something as an outlet. So it was really frustrating for me to have that happen. But after we got through the, I'm done and then now I'm back phase, that bullying aspect really kind of stopped as much. However, there was still the slight, I don't want to say attack, but this slight attack from the coach to try to push me and get me off the team and off of his varsity roster, and just because that was a blemish to him, and to me, like, it both frustrated me. It definitely kept me from wrestling in college. Like, there were opportunities for me to go on and wrestle in college, and one of the biggest reasons I didn't was because my coach really didn't give me, every other wrestler he really pushed when they had opportunities to wrestle in college. He was really like, oh yes, I'm super excited for you. But for me, he didn't even seem to care that there was a college actually asking me. In fact, I don't know this for a fact, I don't know this true, but if there was a college that maybe approached him, I feel like he maybe would have said, oh no, this person's a fruit, you don't need to bring this person onto your team. And that may have even taken opportunities away from me. And I mean, I don't know that for a fact, that's all speculation, and I'm glad I didn't wrestle in college. Like, I think that I had a much better college experience without having to worry about watching my weight or working out like 6 to 7 hours a day, because that is one of the things that I didn't enjoy in wrestling. Like, one of the things that I did enjoy, and one of the things that I always, like, yes, I make jokes about this when I do comedy on stage, and I hear this all the time as soon as I tell people that, yes, I was bisexual and I was a wrestler in high school, and they first say, oh, well, you did it because you obviously liked rubbing up on guys. But that was never ever a thought process to me during practice, during a wrestling match. Like, that's a competition. It has nothing sexual involved in it, in my opinion. And like, to me, like, that whole aspect of, oh, you're bisexual and you're a wrestler, you must be doing all this, you must enjoy doing this stuff in the showers. Yes, I make jokes about that in comedy, but those are all in farce. It's never ever been a true thing that's ever happened to me. I had my life outside of wrestling, and then I had my life inside wrestling, and they just didn't go together. However, because of my life outside of wrestling, once I became a junior and a senior, it definitely affected my ability to be a leader on the team. People just wouldn't look to me. Like, I was a 4-year varsity wrestler, and my senior year, I should have been a captain, 100%. But I was denied that captaincy because, well, for one, coach didn't want somebody like me to be a captain, and two, because of all the turmoil that had happened throughout my junior year and all the rumors throughout the high school at the time, I definitely was not looked at as someone who could be a leader on my team. I was just looked at as someone that was part of the team. Like, and that to me, that was fine. However, I felt like, after working and earning my way up to being a senior and a 4-year varsity wrestler, I felt I deserved to have that captain spot, and I was denied that. But that's something I can never go back to. But like, overall, I still love wrestling. I still follow it to this day. I like watched the Iowa Penn State duel the other day. I follow my old high school. I follow my old coach who went on to win multiple team state championships with another team and probably looks to bring home another plaque this year, if not another state championship this year with a new team. So like I follow it religiously. However, I was saddened to find out, you know, when I first came out and transitioned about 5 years ago, somebody from my home wrestling team, I was found out that I was planning on coming to the alumni night, and I was asked not to come. I was asked not to be to represent myself as a wrestler of that school, and so it was really kind of sad to me. But I mean, that's the reality of being transgender in today's world. Is unfortunately certain things about you, about your life, just will no longer be the same. And as much as I would love to go back to my old high school and take part in an alumni night, I know that that'll probably never ever happen again. But I still follow them. I still love wrestling. I would go to wrestling tournaments if I felt that it was okay for me to be there. But unfortunately, even though wrestling has come around and become very much a gender fluid sport, with girls being successful and girls like having state tournaments in multiple states. Like when I was in high school, they didn't have girls wrestling. Now it's in the Olympics and it's all over the place. So like I find that it's frustrating that they can totally accept girls wrestling, but they can't accept a wrestler who's transitioned to become a girl, even though that wrestler heart that they've had has never gone away. They're always a wrestler, and I think that no matter what, once a wrestler, you're always a wrestler, whether you're gay, straight, trans, cis, or whatever. So like that's a lifestyle, that's a sport that really just kind of makes you a different type of person. Anyways, I've kind of rambled on and on and on. That's really kind of the brunt of my experience. I am going to share this onto some of my public pages because I do want some people to see this, that I know I would like this message to be heard by them. Anyways, I love every single one of you guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Thanks, guys. Bye.